Audio. I guess this thing auto starts the recording. I can stop it though and start it again. We'll just turn it on.
Resolution 23
Oh, they are.
0920 T 003 to accept the amounts and rates determined by the Budget Commission. Jerry, could you read those?
Okay, I'll move to accept the following. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of Harlan Township, Delaware County, Ohio, in accordance with the provisions of law, has previously adopted a tax budget for the next succeeding fiscal year commencing on January 1, 2024. And whereas the Budget Commission of Delaware County, Ohio, has certified his action thereon to this board, together with an estimate by county auditor of the rate of each tax necessary to be levied by the board, and what part therefore is without and what part within the 10 mil tax limitation. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Harlan Township, Delaware County, Ohio, that the amounts and rates as determined by the Board of Commission in its certification, be the same are hereby accepted, and be it further resolved that there be and hereby levied on the tax duplicate of said township the rate of each tax necessary to be levied within the 10 and without the limitation as followed. And be it further resolved that the fiscal officer of this board be and should be hereby directed to certify a copy of this resolution to the county auditor of said county.
A second.
Okay, we're gonna do a roll call vote. Mr. Paul,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Jackson, aye. Motion carried. Resolutions passed. Okay, we have resolution 23-920 T 004 to approve the 2024 pay schedule. You submitted that, Chief, to Lisa?
24 is yes for 20, what we did for 23, just 24 was still up for discussion.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought too.
Yeah, I apologize if there's confusion on what I gave her, but no, that was part of our going forward, yes.
Okay, so there's no action on that.
Hey, Dave,
Yes,
that is just the pay schedule. That's not pay rates or anything. I need that for payroll. That is when you guys get paid.
so,
That's good, yes, that's the every 2 weeks that.
okay.
Yeah, that's all that is.
Not what they're getting paid.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
need to act on this.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. Do you have a motion to approve?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next item we have is to approve the OTA education classes, and it's something that the Township Associations came up with, a $250 enrollment. And that entitles everybody in the township government here to attend online courses. Is that correct, Mike?
Yep, all of them that they have for the whole year.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve that one?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second,
Second, all those in favor? Aye.
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 quick question, like, how will that work? I mean, will we get some way to identify ourselves
Yeah,
into that, or how does that work?
sent access into us, and I'll follow up with him as soon as I see that it's just not approved. I'll
Okay.
follow up with the guy and find out what we have to do, get everybody signed.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna forego the hearing tonight on the county line overlay. With the COVID situation we encountered. We will here at 7:15 do the hearing for the James and Deborah Clark hearing. But in the meantime, is there any strategic planning report from the committee members or anything tonight, or? Yes, sir.
Want me to stand up?
Just you can holler loud enough.
Okay, I'm gonna holler loud enough. Strategic planning, committee requests a, supply budget. For the remainder of the year to January 1st, not to exceed $2,000, which I don't think we're going to, hit that. But we're just running into, an insurmountable amount of work. And as you saw from some other requests, that this is getting expensive. And the members can no longer pay for this out of their pockets. And so we would like a budget not to exceed $2,000 to cover materials, copying, maps, all that type of thing.
Okay. Lisa, do you have somewhere you can draw that from?
I will look while you guys proceed with the meeting and I'll let you know.
All right. We'll double back on that one. Tonight we have to set,
I guess one of
Yes.
the report from the strategic plan, we had over 60 people join last night for the
Okay.
Ohio Farm Bureau
right,
discussion around the power lines and kind of what the whole process is for siting power lines and what the landowners' options are and kind of some rules of the road. So we had really good engagement last night. I think it will probably lead to a follow-up meeting at some point. But also at some point, you know, we'll have to discuss this, Carl, at the strategic planning committee, but I don't believe it'll be our job to orchestrate or organize landowners in that fashion, but we have a really good resource here, and we're just gonna need to find some strategic landowners that wanna kind of lead the parade is my
mhm,
guess. So,
okay,
but it was very enlightening last night.
The only thing that's I'll do a little bit, myself and two of the other strategic, Tom Need and Bruce met with AEP last week. And got a whole lot of the same old. One thing I will say is nothing according to them is etched in stone. We voiced our opinion as to why we felt that it shouldn't be coming through the heart of Harlem Township. I stood up and I showed them a pathway, that one of the pathways, and why that made more sense, especially with what Harlem Township was going to need. Beth Lear was there, so and I think we had it was a good meeting. One thing that I did find out that I thought was interesting, it was kind of brought up again last night. The easements that they've been going around and asking for,
mhm,
we probably shouldn't be signing those yet,
no,
because nothing is been filed. So technically, as he said last night, technically this project isn't even in existence yet. And by signing off on these easements, we could be opening ourselves up to future issues. So, trying to let the residents, hopefully the residents are not signing these off yet.
well, the way I read the option they left at my place, it's alive for 2 years. So
Yeah,
if it isn't for this one, they might keep it in their pocket for the next time.
yeah. So until they officially file with the all of the boards,
Right,
that project technically does not exist. So they're just out on doing resource and research gathering right now.
okay. Well, we'll see where that goes. I still need to get a attorney list from Dale. I asked him a week ago and I didn't receive it yet.
Did you email him? Because it sounds like he's been a very busy man recently.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Follow it up with an email with him. That's the biggest thing. Email to him.
Okay, anything else? Oh, okay, we need to set a hearing for the Ty Singer. It's well, CJT Development, 11,380 Fancher Road, Westerville, seeking to rezone 5.717 acres from current AR1 to 1 industrial. If we could do that hearing, I want to say the next meeting's
Be October.
October 18th. Do that 7:15 like usual.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll receive that application. So is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Gary, you want to report on the Lewis land survey situation?
Yes, Chairman, Lewis Land has completed their survey work at the Barnhart edition of Fancher. So we have that, everything laid out there now, by design, and, the last thing that needs to be done there is the stamping of the discs. About 100 discs that have to be stamped, and most gotta be hand stamped. Most of them have to have three stamps in each four quadrants on each disc. So it's going to take a little time there to get that, but everything basically from the survey standpoint is completed. So I hope to be selling grave sites by spring down there. So I've already got 2 or 3 sold. So it's moving along.
Okay.
They've done a nice job.
All right. We'll try to get through the administrative office report. It was brought to Kendra's attention by Bart that the current gutters on the administration side of the building are being overwhelmed by water in comparison to the downspouts. He's cleaned and checked all gutters, and he's recommending another downspout be added to the gutter that takes care of the upper and lower sections of the roof. So not sure who we get to do that. Is there a contractor that did the roof repairs that might reach out to him, please? Okay. And it's Kendra's going to be attending, I guess it's online, the 25th to the 29th September, the High Township Association Leader Academy. It's going to be each day for 1 hour. And then Mike Cannon and herself is going to be attending the Economic Development Meeting at Sunbury Chamber of Commerce, the 27th from 8 until 9:30 a.m. And then they're going to be attending the Delaware County Property Tax discussion on October 6th at 8 to 9 at the Chamber. And a reminder, she's going to be out of office from the 18th, 19th, and 20th for the conference for the cemetery programming. And real quick, I got wrote here on here. Trick or treat, we always get asked that question. Sunbury's going to be the 31st, and then all the other communities are 6 to 8. So that's agreeable.
Agreeable.
Okay, we'll go along with that lines. And real quick, we'll do the fire. Chief is asking for approval for upgrades of communication devices for all response apparatus. This is to approve Division of Fire upgrade of communication devices for all response apparatus, which are already appropriated in the department budget, amount not to exceed $50,000. Have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Fence is approved. Clark's reporting on maintenance that his dust control is all done. I think he did that last Wednesday. I didn't hear anything, so I guess everything went pretty smooth on that aspect. Okay, we'll start our hearing here. Going to recess the business portion of the meeting to convene the hearing for James and Deborah Clark. Resolution 23-920 T06. It's the approval of application HTZC for rezoning. This hearing was scheduled for tonight. The application was received September 7th in special meeting. The legal notice was placed in the September 9th Delaware Gazette. It was also posted on the township website, Facebook, and posted at the rear of the firehouse that the meeting was going to be tonight. Regional Planning recommended approval to the township, and the Township Zoning Commission recommended approval to the trustee board. There is a drainage swell easement that will need to be, they'll have to have permission to cross that with a line. I assume that's water lines. Mr. Clark here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is that what that's reference to, the crossing the swell, the water line, or the sewer, or what?
The ditch petition, just water from a 100-acre field down the street.
Okay. And it makes comment in there as usual, both properties will need to be soil tested for sanitary purposes for septic tank when they build. Like I say, the zoning commission approved the approval of 23-06. And that was after discussion, and a new survey was supplied by Mr. Clark. So. Any other discussion? Do you have any more comments, Mr. Clark?
No, sir.
Okay. Any public have any questions? What's the board's pleasure? Any discussion?
Yeah, just make sure nothing's on Zoom question wise. No, okay,
Okay,
I have nothing.
all right,
I second the motion.
all right. Motion's been moved and seconded to approve the rezone. Roll call vote, please. Paul?
Aye.
Earl?
Aye.
Aye. Jackson, aye. Request's been approved. It'll be effective in 30 days. We'll reconvene our business. We're gonna, like I said, we'll at 7:30, we'll open the hearing for the county line, but we're gonna recess it until next 27th. Mike, if you got anything you want to report on the zoning?
Yeah, just a quick update on where we stand on the permit, right? Standing at 71 for the year, opposed to 74 last year, and 71 and 67 2 years before. I imagine we'll probably surpass last year by the end of the month. As far as on the enforcement issues, they're still up with Corey. Corey hasn't found out anything new on any of them. Still working on the Center Village Road dump truck issue. Have you heard anything from anybody about whether that's stopped or not? I'm getting.
I haven't heard.
I want to get a hold of the neighbor there that did the initial complaint and see what their thoughts are. Corey wants to know if any improvements happening, because supposedly the guy's gonna get out of there.
Mhm.
And I don't want, Corey and I were talking, and we don't want him to say he's getting out of there and us back off, and then he decides to stay in there and get it one more time. So
It's hard to know if anybody's back there or not, because
unless we go back there, which we're not supposed to go back there, so.
Yeah,
So that's where we stand on that. I'll find out more information on it. Hatch Road, the sheriff's department has been involved in that. I think I talked to you guys about that. There's really nothing we can do until that gets an actual owner. I did get a new complaint that came in for a house on Miller Paul just south of Robbins Road. The neighbor said the property next to him is building without permit, which that's clear because I don't have a permit for it, and that he's on his property line. I went ahead and fired a letter out to the person 2 days ago. He called me back today. So I've got a meeting with them out there next week and we'll go out there and check that property out and figure out what's going on with that. I think we'll be able to get that solved pretty quickly. Other than that, that's about it.
Okay. A little bit of time.
Any more on the potential issues for BZA zoning, 3 items you got listed there? Center Village Road, winery.
I've heard nothing from them. They said they would contact me when they're ready. I am hearing rumblings about the ice skating, but nothing's coming to me about it. Supposedly there's some action going on that. You heard anything about
No. 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 Okay.
We've got a little bit of time here yet. Roger? Got something tonight?
I got a couple things. If you wanna wait when we start, we come back up?
Well, we've got a hearing at 7:30. We have to start, so
We got 10 minutes.
got 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. Let everybody know I'm Roger Nybarger, I live on Green Cook Road. I've been in the township all but 3 years, my entire life, if you count vacations. Tonight, this first thing, I'm representing Harlan Township Heritage. Trustees, you all got a letter email yesterday, I assume. We're very concerned about some things as outlined in the letter. And tonight I have letters to hand copy, the hard letter of everything we've talked about in the letter. The letter was composed by the entire board, not just me.
Okay.
On the back page, there is an estimate we had on electrical work that we had talked to you back in June about having done. And found out that when Mr. Richardson was unable physically to help us at that last minute notice, and so I called in a very good and quality electrician. And they came up better than $5,000, which is over 3 times our budget. And we had allotted to help with the work. Just let you see what it is. The electric was a hindrance to us in the Harlem Township days. And as your letter states, it's doubtful right now, the way things stand, that we'll be able to light the trees in the Christmas season. We just don't have electric and so on and so forth on it. You all have called us and told us how nice it is and so on and so forth. But that's that issue there, and there's a couple other ones on there. We've really had an issue with this year, and we'd like to sit down and talk with you, try to resolve it. Harlem Township Heritage is, we feel, is very beneficial to our community. Questions?
I'll take, if I could.
Go ahead.
Roger, I know as we get older, sometimes our memory fails. I know mine does. As far as I'm gonna pick the letters, just some things that that I picked up. The issues over there at the park. Unfortunately, back when I was a member of the HTH, you guys had an on-site electrician. You know, and I was able to take care of a lot of things. I don't know if you remember, but every time we had an event, we did something different in the panel. To take a broad brush and say that we're not looking and helping, I think was a little extreme. You and I could probably go over there right now by simply changing a couple wires around, because you know what we do, you've seen what we do. and we could get the outlets back out on the trees. These get taken off every year when we do either HTH or any of the other events, we switch things around. The panel that was put for the tree, as you, if you remember, was a temporary setup that became a permanent, semi-permanent fixture. And every year we were going to fix it. We just, things happened, we didn't do it. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember seeing a $5,000 quote for electric. I'm not saying it didn't, but I don't remember seeing it brought to us. I'm just saying, me personally.
I
don't
address
remember.
it.
Sure.
Quote was given to me August the 10th.
Oh, so that quote did not.
It did not come to you. It's too
Okay.
late.
Okay, because the
Yep.
letter, the letter implied that we had seen that.
I really don't see where you find that, Carl. I really don't. That was only after I had talked to you and you tell me he's having foot problems.
Mhm.
You probably wouldn't be able to help us put it together.
Okay,
I felt uncomfortable getting my hands down that box.
I understand. I understand, that,
And,
and I appreciate that and I respect it.
So I went ahead and found out, it was gonna cost a few hundred more dollars. HCH might have ate it, and then we might have made emergency phone calls to you. I don't know what we would have done. But when I found out our $1,500 budget was less than a third of what it's gonna cost to bring it up to 100% to code.
All right.
We
Which,
decided as a group, we could not or should not do that.
which, to be honest, that quote to have those two panels, which is what we basically need over there.
Yes.
We need two permanent panels mounted and not the temporary. That's not a bad number. Just like I said, had I seen that before the letter, or even now since the letter, I personally would have endorsed that. I don't see a problem with that. That's why I said I wish this conversation would have happened before that letter, to be
Let me
honest.
explain where we were on that. I came before this committee in this room in January and asked to have the GFIs replaced because they were bad. We had trouble all Christmas season.
Mhm.
You were there even a couple times and we fiddled around them. Next thing we heard was on about May 25th, we came in at farmer's market and seen the panels laying by the building. What's the assumption? We assumed you took the panels out rather than replacing the GFIs.
The only panels that were taken out was the two temporary ones, the one at the gazebo and the one that served the
The
Christmas tree.
gazebo had
The gazebo had a panel that never probably should have been over there.
yes. And I.
So we did a lot of things, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat, we did a lot of things just to get by for the HTH event.
Yes.
You know, but now that things are continuously happening, we do have to bring that up. You know, I would love to be able to go over and do it. I can't.
When Mark Mason from Quality Electric and I walked the park. Little background, Mark Mason has done tremendous amount of electrical work for me in the state of Ohio. Tremendous amount, several $1 million. And I trust his opinion. And he looked at the panels, he says, we won't touch them,
Which panels?
the ones laying beside the buildings.
Right,
He said, we won't touch them. And we got to understand his license.
understand.
And 38 men is based on his license. So I asked him, give me a quote, what it will cost to bring it up.
Which is understandable.
I didn't expect it to be that high. But I do expect it's not as high as it could have been.
Roger, why wasn't that submitted? Why did you not turn that over to us?
It's August the 10th, Jerry, when we got it. And we had the festival on the 19th. It had no time come before the board.
Okay.
It had no time coming before the board.
Was there any effort made long before this point? Or do we wait till we got right up to the time of the event to get excited about it?
I don't like that statement, getting excited about it, and I came before you in January and asked for it to be attention given to it. And the attention we found, I don't know why it went this route. I've got suspicion, but I can't say that out loud. But why it went this route, we don't know, but what we found out was on about May 25th. May 25th was our first farmer's market. We came in, the panels were laying against the building.
Those panels were taken down because I recommended it be taken down because there was gonna be a lot more people in that park around that area, and I knew those panels were not up to code. There was nothing intended. First of all, I don't think anybody on this board was ever told that electricity was potential needed at farmer's market. So I didn't think, I'm saying, I did not think that would affect farmer's market.
To answer your question, your statement, we specifically have told all vendors, including the food trucks, that there's no electric available for them. The food
And I
trucks
thought that
are
was our conversation. And as far as HTH, Roger, if memory serves me right, and please, if not, correct me. I was with the understanding that you guys were gonna, for HTH, what you guys needed was you were gonna get, technical terms, a spider box. And run a cable from the front panel out at the pole, which I told you had a 100-amp breaker in it, because that's what used to feed the gazebo panel.
Yes,
That's what you guys were gonna work off of, and your electric was taken care of.
we took our SO cord and wired it in that box, just as you told us,
Okay,
you know, just as we done in the past.
I guess a comment was made that it affected the Harlem Township days. I thought I had taken care of that.
We had a tremendous hard time getting food trucks for Harlem Township days. Some we had lined up, backed out the last minute. Some would not even commit because we could not supply them the electric they asked for. Very specifically, you have to be self-contained or you can't work it out. We moved things around a little bit. You had to move the whole situation. We moved the main tent up closer to 605, partly because of electric. And you talk about people talking. That was the biggest question we had. Why'd you move the tent? And the tent's always been down there. But anyways, that's beside the point. That's beside the point. What we decided to do is just work around the situation. Our kid vendors, we called them and told them they had to bring the generators. Fortunately, I don't believe they charge us any extra for the generators as they have in the past. But instead of trying to fool around the breakers on that side of the park that wasn't working, we decided the best thing to do is require them to be self-contained.
Stop you there and we'll reconvene. It's time to
Okay.
start our hearing. This time we'll recess the business portion. Open the hearing for the adoption of the County Line Road overlay. It's resolution 23-920T007. This application was received by the board September 7th. The ad was placed in the September 9th Delaware Gazette. It was advertised on the website, Facebook, and posted at the rear of the building. And at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to recess this hearing until September 27th at 7:15 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 22nd, Dave.
27th,
27.
week from tonight. 7:15. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. So that hearing will be recessed and reconvene the 27th. I'm sorry, go ahead, Roger. Finish your discussion.
Yeah,
Sure.
that was quick.
Jerry, come back and say what you made. I believe your August meeting was the 16th of August, and our event was the 19th. And we got the paperwork back on about the 10th, and that's why we never brought it to you before.
That answers that question.
And quite frankly, the board as a whole, the 5 people signed this letter. We wanted to take our time and send the letter and write down and try to present the facts without any anger involved in it.
No,
Well, I'm a little bit confused because you came to the June meeting and proposed, the repairs and we voted to go along with your proposal that you were gonna pay for, at that time, I think it was $2,100 or something.
Our intended budget was 1,500.
Okay,
And we came before you with the intentions of putting the panel back up and changing the GFIs.
okay,
And when Carl said he could not help us because of physical difficulties, that's when I called Quality Electric. I did not
Okay.
feel comfortable getting in there playing around with wires half the size of my arm. Well, whatever size they are. Carl, what are they? Finger size? Okay.
you got big arms, buddy, come on.
But I still didn't feel comfortable. with it.
Right, no, and I respect that, and I would not even.
And
ask
besides
you.
that, we were very uncomfortable taking our SO cord, Carl, and hooking it to the front pool this year. Because we're not qualified electricians. We're hacks,
Understand.
okay? If somebody got hurt, not only would that have been a lawsuit to Harlem Township Heritage, it came back on you fellas. Even though you held spotless, but I was very uncomfortable doing that. I had somebody else stand there with us. The two of us together did it. And I was so glad to be able to take it down. Nobody got hurt.
Well, Roger,
So all we're asking is move forward with some type of plan to repair things. We felt blindsided when we came in and asked for repairs and it was taken out without any conversation with us. The paragraph down there says that we did a volunteer and we still volunteer to help with some of the repairs. If you notice on there, that $5,000 figure did not include digging the trenches and planting the posts and putting the plywood on. And Carl, you understand the terminology there, so.
it is, sir.
It seems to me that it's time to get an electrician lined up, walk the premises and point out what you feel we need.
What needs to happen, I mean, what he's got on here, the only thing I question is the 100-amp panel without getting the 100-amp panel at the gazebo, I don't think is necessary unless that's the smallest. He's talking about bringing things up to code. The ground rod at the time when all that was put in, ground rods at each one was not required. So that's the reason why there was nothing improperly ever done over there other than we left a temporary panel up a lot longer than we should have.
I did question the one panel myself, Carl. But for $200, it might be best to have him.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's gonna take responsibility for it.
Right. He may just be saying that because of what feeds over there. It's a 100-amp service, but
Yes.
and it's not that can't be that much, not that much of a cost difference between anything smaller. What he's got here is what's needed over there. This is what I was originally planning on doing until old age hit.
How much trenching, Roger? How much trenching?
Meeting you on both panels,
What do what?
How
or
much?
meeting Jerry from both panels, trenching.
Oh,
There's a junction box located, well, the one by the Christmas tree, where the Christmas tree goes, is probably less than 5 foot. The
Yes.
one over by, I'm gonna assume you're gonna wanna put it as inside the pine trees like we
I
had
think so.
before.
Yes.
So it's probably 10 foot.
It's
So
out of the way.
Probably 15 foot total.
It's out of the way of the maintenance crew and all where we originally, that's why we put it there.
it's not terrible, in my opinion.
yeah, doesn't sound like it.
No, it'd be,
And there's nothing involved over there where there would be any water lines hit or anything like that.
I think that seems to me that's the thing to do now. Let's get
I would agree.
back over there and pinpoint what we need done and try to move forward with it.
Well,
Okay.
could
Yeah, I
we do,
agree.
could we do this? Could we say something not to exceed this number, but let Roger, myself and your electrician meet over there?
That'd be all right.
Can we do that?
absolutely.
And we'll do a not to exceed?
Yeah, 'cause I'd like to have you involved.
No, I don't know. It's fine.
Yes,
Now, I'll meet with them.
Yeah.
But I want one of you fellows to,
They're right here.
Right.
Man,
and it should be him because he's got the knowledge.
absolutely.
Yes.
Go.
We need to check with Lisa on funds for,
Well, that to me would come out, we should have funding in our, I would think, Lisa has the number, so she's gonna have to tell me if I'm right or wrong.
yeah,
But, we haven't really spent a lot of money on facilities.
yeah, I don't recall what's in that. Designated,
Dave,
yes,
yeah, we'll find the funds, even if we
Alright.
have to transfer.
okay, great, thank you.
And then I found the 2002 for the planning commission
Okay.
that they
good
asked
girl.
for.
All right,
I'd like to make a motion that we approve not to exceed 5280 for the installation of electrical needs to upgrade at the park.
I agree.
Yeah.
Second.
second, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you, fellas. Sorry it came off a little harsh. We tried not to make it harsh. We really did.
Hmm.
We recognize how busy you are. I mean, we're just as busy and we all live here and we don't want any hard feelings.
There's no hard feelings, Roger. I'll be honest with you, and you and I know we talk straight. You and I wish more people would talk like you and I do. There was a lot of questions as to what was said, because I knew conversations you and I had. And I didn't see it the way some of those things were said in the letter. So, but it's passed. We'll move on. Sure.
Second thing. Continue. Gotta continue.
Sure,
Again, I Roger Nybarg and I happen to pastor New Direction Church on Gorsuch Road. Fellas, I'm going to reiterate part of this, but it needs to be brought out, I believe, in the open. I appreciate each one of you talking to me this past weekend, a couple of days this week, as well as Mike Cannon. I did receive, long story short, this started back in January 2014. When members of my church body was saying some negative things about my township trustees and the zoning board. Bothered me a great deal, so I came to this body and asked for records. In January 2014, several months later, where it was 3 or 4, I'm not so sure. But I was told that the records were lost. We operated that 10-year period of time knowing that there's no records. In this room, about where these gentlemen are sitting here, John Trainer wrote me a permit for a sign. Carl, you probably hear the conversation. Remember, John Trainer says we have no records. We can do what we want with that property. That was one of your representatives. So he gave us a permit for a sign. 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years, we as a body of people, and I do have one of my members back here outside my wife, began recognizing that the property is going downhill. And we consider blight, first off, from God's face. Secondly, it's a blight in my township, in our township. So we began making our plans, what to do about the situation. I've been here all my life. And I see things in the township that bothers me. Unkept property is one of them. And our property has been unkept for the last 3 or 4 years. Fast forward to now, we made a decision what to do, and the decision included selling the parsonage off. Several conversations. I had 12 trips to Delaware trying to straighten the deeds out on that property, which should have been found 20 years ago when they gave them, when it was put into PRD. I read that deed today, Jerry, and it says the same thing mine does. But anyways, the records were mysteriously found, and I'll say mysteriously. Sometime between August the 17th, I believe it was, I talked with Mike on property. And Thursday, the 14th of September. We proceeded with silent auction. Bids were required to be into the attorney's office, real estate attorney's office on Friday, the 15th of September, and I find out these records were found a couple weeks prior. I find that out on Thursday afternoon, the 14th. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. Based on the attorney's advice, we rejected all bids. So now I'm back to limbo. The house was a deteriorating mess. When the renters moved out, they left it a horrible mess. And you know, I talked here or there of you, but it's just a fact. But now all of a sudden we find these documentations, and I read some of them today, and I didn't get everything I needed. I looked at your file first, Jerry. And then Mike gets off work at 4 o'clock, so respecting his time, I left. I sat down, looked at the documentation I got, and we're short some things what I've seen, which we'll probably come back and get. Our real estate attorney is very, very curious about this. And his statement to me was, how can something be valid after being lost for 10 years? So we have some questions, even if the paperwork we found is even effective today because of being lost.
I guess, could I interrupt you just a second?
Yes,
Who told you they were lost?
I'm not going to divulge yet.
Okay. I went to the file, I understand you went to the file
I just went and file, look for it, it's
and,
there.
and it was there. That's what I'm having a hard time coming up with and if you didn't talk to this Mike initially, and were told the file was lost.
Mike and I talked on site.
Yeah.
Mike followed up for regional planning. I've been there 4 times this year myself.
Maybe, but do a lot of time.
Regional planning told Mike we could not, originally I wanted to put in a separate driveway. You know, I sat on BZA board for 12 or 14 years. I don't know how long it was, a long time. So I know a little bit how zoning works. And I really want to put in a separate driveway to this half-acre parcel over in Harlem. But that would put 4 driveways in 110 feet. I just didn't think I'd fly. So I talked to Mike about deeding off 1,600 square feet to the property we're trying to sell. And we decided that day it probably could not happen. First off, he said he talked to somebody on the zoning board, and they said that we'd have to come back to the zoning board and start all over. And I knew that as busy as they are, we'd be 6, 8, 10 months out before we got any resolutions. The paperwork I seen today was, I think it was a 14-month period of time before the church got a permit to build a second building on the property. 14 months. Unfortunately, the records that the church had was maintained by a lady who's passed away. And we never got all the documentation that she stored in her house. Much like the excuse I had when we couldn't find the records here. Mysteriously appeared. Where did they come from? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Why they appeared a couple weeks in between time I talked to Mike and sell the house. It's a big question. Big question. We did not, on the advice of the attorney. He said we cannot accept any bids, we got to reject them all. Because you represent that property to be one thing and the zoning board saying it's something else. Litigation time.
What do you need from us right now, Roger?
I'm going to ask you tonight for, I no longer have my zoning book. I would like to see the PRD resolution, the zoning plans. And also I'd like to see the minutes from January 14. And the date when you passed the resolution, and I'd like to see the resolution stating that the records are lost. I understand some of your office staff is out, so I understand a little delay getting them, Jerry. We talked about that briefly Monday. What else I need, Jerry? I don't know. I got the records today after 4 o'clock. I do have an appointment with the real estate attorney tomorrow too. And he's gonna look over, see what we need. We may not need anything.
Well, we had asked the same question to the prosecutor about
figured that.
lost records
Mm-hmm.
and how that the status of legality. And until we send him copies of what was lost, we're not gonna know that answer.
Sure, I understand that.
So that's, and to send that whole packet, I mean, a lot of notes, you saw it today. There's a lot of handwritten notes, but zoning commission members. And what I found in that packet, there was no actual application. I don't know where it went, but it's not in there. There's a map, plat map dated 2002 that was signed off by the zoning commission and two of the trustees that called that plat legal for, I think that was when you proposed to build the building in the back and the additional parking and maybe update the septic system. That was on the map. That was the only meat and potatoes I found in the whole folder, really.
I was hoping to find why, now I'm presuming, why the zoning commission at the time decided I would go from FR1. Because it's a half acre and a 2.6 acre lot together, total of 3. Why it went from FR1 to planned residential?
I don't have an explanation for that either.
Only thing I can surmise is that they didn't want this fellowship hall on that property. 2 buildings on one property, although the house until this April, May, maybe of this year, the house and the church was on one property. The
Good.
front half, the house and the church was on one property,
Yeah, okay.
and it took me over a year to get that resolved.
But now the house is on a half acre and the church and the fellowship is on, was it 2 acres or something, a little over 2 acres? Yeah,
It's always been that way. We can go back 60 years and pull tax records and see where we paid taxes on that property for 60 years.
yeah.
And now all of a sudden this year, with the present deed, it shows it being split in 2023, which is as wrong can be. But that's the only way that the county would accept it.
Well, this spring, when you talked to me and you were going back and forth between the surveyor and regional and the map room, I believe, what were they willing to record? You were trying to get something new recorded, correct?
The surveyor did a complete total survey of both properties twice because the first set got lost.
Okay.
And they asked for additional information on it. They actually asked for a non-split development plan, I think they called it. So he had to go back in and measure each tree and put each tree on it, count the blades of grass and put the blades of grass on it. I mean, he had to go through all of this at my expense, at the church's expense. Only then did they finally get together and come to the decision that everything's okay. It was May 12th. I think it was May 12th when I got the documentation from the map room. Regional planning turned it down twice for wording or something or the other. And then it has not been a good education of governmental affairs.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
I just want a matter of public record. No, I really did, you know, I don't want to put anybody in that position, but it just needs to be made known.
Yeah, when
If we got this kind of problem now, what's going to happen in 2 years when we get somebody wants to build 3,000 houses down here in southern part of the township?
This is the first time I've ever heard anything this complicated.
yeah,
And with this being lost files and lost records, I think it's the first time I've heard it, Roger.
Our real estate attorney, 40+ years, actually laughed and said, "I've never heard of such a fiasco."
First, I think I've heard of it in
yeah,
40 years.
I agree.
So,
It did have to happen to me. And you. You know, we didn't have to go through this, but we are.
We'll do what we can to help work your way through this thing. So,
So I just want to let you know, we are looking at whether it's legal or not, and I've told my wife this day or sometime that I'm sure you folks already contacted your prosecuting attorney's office. You know, and
well, just to check the legal legality of what.
Yeah, just to check the legal
We were wanting, the letter to the prosecutor was simply, is even if the document was lost, if it was found, is it still valid?
Yeah, that's what.
that's the question.
That's the question. That's what we wanted to know.
thank you. I would like a copy of that letter as well from my attorney.
The letter that we sent to him? I'll send you a copy of the email.
They're going to be conversing.
It was an email. It's, I mean, I can,
Larry Schaefer will be conversing with them anyway, so.
I'll send it. I don't
Sure.
even think we need to do a records request. I'll just go ahead and send him the copy of the
No,
email.
that's fine.
I hope to get a couple of black hairs back after this resolved. Any further? I'm gonna sit down.
All right. Better get that information from Kendra when she gets back, Roger, this week on the minutes.
Okay,
And before you leave tonight, come up here, you and I'll sit here and you'll see that I'm sending you the email.
trust you. Okay. You're a dog, but I trust you.
Bark, bark.
Okay, we have any other, Johnny?
I just wanted to comment, the early 2000s before I was on zoning, but I do know that a number of times we tried to find some records later than that were created when Cy was the zoning inspector. And apparently he kept some of his records in his own office,
Mhm.
and we didn't get them back.
That's true. We had to declare those laws.
When I was the trustee, my first term, I remember that came up, that there were records that when Cy passed away, the board tried to attempt, and we were unable to get them, and were some records that were declared lost.
And those are the only records I know that were lost.
Right. Which
They
was,
were
But I
lost.
yeah,
don't know what were in them.
no, we don't have a clue.
Unfortunately, no one needed to see them,
Yeah,
like Roger.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that was in there or not. How would you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have a clue. Anything else? Lauren, you got anything tonight?
Lauren from Delaware Public Health District. We are fully operational at 470 South Sandusky now and have our Sunbury location too. I put some flyers out here about some events coming up later this month that we are hosting. And also that we are starting monthly first aid and CPR training if you're interested in that. And then we'll also be having a renewal of our levy coming up in November. There is no increase, it's the same levy that we've been running under since 1984. So there's more information back here if you like.
Okay, thank you. I got lost in the weeds. Did we approve the up to amount for the electric? Did we do that motion?
We didn't do them.
We did not do that motion.
Would we like to do that?
I'll make a motion that I think we did.
I thought,
We did.
yeah, we did.
Just have
Okay, the one for the strategic budget.
We got a $2,000 one here. We did.
Right, we haven't done that one.
Somewhere.
That's not on anything it was something that Jim brought up.
Yes, that's Jim's comment. 2,000.
Yeah. That,
Yes.
so do we have a motion for the 2,000?
So moved.
And that's for supplies.
Yes.
And the only thing that those will be coming through, how will those receipts be handled?
Just bring the receipts in and however you want us to turn it.
So
out.
bring them to me as
Yeah,
part of the
if you're
strategic,
on
okay.
if you're on the committee, we'll-
Yeah. Have to do one of the reimbursement forms.
Yep.
Okay, so is that a motion, Carl?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
All those in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, then you have a $2,000 up to budget for supplies. We have anything else? Any Public have anything else this evening? Gentlemen,
I'm meeting next Wednesday with Doug Riedel from Engineer's Office and gentleman from the addition down by the Gorsuch Road where the bridge is.
right, yeah, I don't know if that's got a name or not.
It's like it's not, it hasn't got a sign on it. I know, because I even went down to check that, but.
Yeah,
So anyway, they want to have the township take over that maintenance of that addition, the roadway.
I believe we're gonna have an in-depth talk about that because that's old pavement, needs to be core tested and brought up to specs, probably a new code.
Yeah, Dennis Gatta is a resident down there, they called man.
Okay,
And we'll be meeting with probably a few other residents and Doug Riedel,
all right,
so.
all right.
That's all I have.
Earl, you have anything tonight?
No, I don't have anything. I'm having memory loss tonight.
Yeah, we all are.
No, I have nothing else.
Okay, well. Have a motion to recess until the 27th at 7:00.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
We're in recess until next Wednesday. We got some paperwork to do here, gentlemen.
Yes, please.